Hello, let's make sure my mic is working. Are you having fun yet? Okay, I know 3 things right now. I am the only thing that stands between you and knowing the results. There's a room full of people, and sorry, parents and teachers, I'm gonna look over here, who are a lot smarter than I am. And I understand all of Calvin's jokes, so I have declared that I am adopted into the chemical community, if that's okay. I don't know if that's a good measure, but that's what it is. So I was asked to come today to share. I know you guys talked a lot about space in your challenge this year. I happen to love space. On the board you see my first child. And so I'm coming to share a little bit more about Space Station, but also a little bit more about my path and how I got there from when I was your age to much, much older. So I hope you'll enjoy my journey. First, a little bit about the space station. We launched the very first element in 1998. I've been there the whole time. That's why I have a lot of gray hair. But the ISS weighs over 900,000 pounds, which is roughly equivalent to 100 African elephants. The inside volume of the space station is about as big as a 5-bedroom house. And we have over 100, picture the refrigerator in your kitchen. We call those racks. And they house all of our science experiments, all of our systems equipment, everything that makes the space station operate. Space station flies about 17,500 miles an hour. The ground surface that means space station covers can get to the moon and back in 1 day. It's a lot of mileage. The solar rays you see out there spinning around, getting us some solar energy, cover about an acre of land. Someone in the questions this morning talked about robots and coding for robots. Space Station is run by over 2 million lines of code. And we also have about 8 miles of wire connecting all of the systems to the electrical power. My favorite fact about Space Station really has nothing to do with numbers, but as you look at this vehicle, it took a little over 10 years to assemble. Every single piece went together for the first time 250 miles in the air. Never on the ground were any of these pieces mated together just to check to make sure it worked. It did, thankfully. Not every single one was flawless, but pretty much. So what do we do on the space station? This is where, oh, I keep hitting the wrong button. Sorry about that. This is where my super awesome fun job comes in. As Calvin said, I manage research on the space station, and so I thought I would share with you guys today some of my favorite experiments, investigations that are happening on the space station in a whole variety of fields. Except I will say, and I heard some of you guys say this today, I am absolutely convinced science will save the world. After today, I'm also convinced one of you is going to do it. So thank you. So first, in the top middle of the screen is part of ISS materials research we do on Space Station. And I was sharing with someone at dinner last night. I don't know where she is. I know she's here somewhere. Just in the last month, we printed artificial retinas on the space station. Imagine, thank you. It wasn't me, it was the PIs, but still super exciting. Imagine getting a retina from the space station to get to a transplant in your family member suffering from macular degeneration. Imagine 10 years from now, okay, space station won't be here in 10 years. Imagine 5 years from now, launching your own cells to space station because you need a new organ and we're gonna print it up there. Some of the material science that we do on station, we are utilizing what we learn to build our future spacecraft, but we're also looking to make it scalable for Earth applications. On the top right of the screen, this is part of our STEM engagement program. And the girl in the front, it's hard to see, you see that little white dot on her glove? That is a wax worm. And we have launched wax worms to the space station to study whether or not the ability for these worms to digest polyethylene will help in biodegradation of plastics. That is obviously applicable to the ground and on orbit. I know somebody answered today about how we do trash generation on long-duration space flights. I used to manage trash, I'll say disposal on space station, and it's a big deal, and it takes a lot of mass and a lot of space to get stuff off space station. So we need some better solutions for further exploration. Down on the second row, over on the far left, if I had known I had people in the audience who had worked on veggie, I would have picked that one, but I didn't know. So I picked the experiment you see up there is called X-Roots. We do a lot of plant experiments on space station. Couple reasons. First, again, for application for further exploration, NASA cannot possibly launch enough cargo and enough supplies to sustain a crew past low Earth orbit for any extended period of time. So we have to find a way for these crews to grow their own food. So this particular experiment is testing hydroponic and aeroponic techniques to see which works better in zero gravity. Okay, the one in the middle I'm really nervous about, and I thought about skipping it because I'm about to talk about chemistry in a room full of chemists. So it really, this is my nervous moment for the presentation. But we do a lot of colloids experiments on space station. Colloids behave very differently in the absence of gravity. And so we recently got results from an experiment we call ACE. NASA has a lot of acronyms, Advanced Colloids Experiments. And the results of that particular experiment helped Procter & Gamble make their new Febreze. That's already on the shelves. So that's pretty cool. So the bottom left is it's our Earth Sciences section area. ISS is a great place to do Earth science observation. It's one of the best views. And this one in particular is called EcoStress. And EcoStress studies drought conditions based on surface temperatures across the Earth. ISS covers roughly 90% of the Earth's surface in the orbit that it's in. We miss the poles a bit. Anything above 52 degrees we miss. But understanding our drought conditions will help us better be able to resolve agriculture vulnerability, which is super important down here. World hunger is one of our biggest issues as a planet. And so we do a lot of investigations for Earth sciences. So this is what I get to do every day. And it's super cool. Someone asked me last night, what does it feel like to work at NASA? And honestly, I have to pinch myself often to really ground that I get to do this every day. They let me do this every day. How did a girl from the middle of small town Wyoming end up in Houston, Texas? I moved here, didn't know a soul, packed my dog, drove here, started my life. Absolutely fell in love with space station, and that was it for me. And when I was talking to CEF about what they wanted me to tell you today, what's my message for you guys today? First of all, after this morning, I was like, you don't need me to talk to them, they're fine. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to show you what I was doing when I was your age? And what did I learn that helped me get to where I am today? I cannot believe I put this together. So this is me when I was your age and all of my passions. I love the outdoors. I love hiking. I love camping, fishing, skiing. I did a lot of gymnastics, a lot of reading. I snuck books a lot under the covers, didn't quite go to bed when I was supposed to go to bed, and I love to travel. So how in the world did all of that allow me to build this? In 1998, I got to sit on console for the very first launch of the first element for space station. I built all of the displays, reading Russian schematics, which was a little iffy, but they let me do it. And I've been working in space station ever since. So What is it? Determination was a big one. In order to learn skills on the beam, I had to be determined. In order to do well in school, I had to get through obstacles that were in my way. Over, under, around, through, didn't matter. I had to figure out what I needed to do to get through it. I was also very adventurous. I loved doing things that I was a little bit afraid to do, which my parents didn't really like, but it's still my philosophy today. I tell people that I mentor, if you're a little bit afraid to do it, that's the number one sign you should probably go do it, because that means you're going to grow and you're going to learn something and you might have a little bit of fun along the way. Creative, I learned how to be creative. Don't laugh at my pumpkin. That is not a very well done pumpkin. But even though my STEM classes were my favorite classes, I'm sorry, I'm completely ignoring you guys. I'm talking to the kids. I still love to do art, and I played the piano, and I loved listening to music. So no matter where your interests lie, if you think, I need to go in a STEM field because that's how I'm going to be successful, keep doing what you love. Don't stop anything that you love. Be teachable. You will never know more than anyone else in the room. You always, always, always need to be teachable. Never go into a room and think, oh, these people can't teach me anything. You can always learn something from somebody. Resilience. I don't know if anyone in here has tried fly fishing in Wyoming. It's very hard. It takes a lot of resilience and a lot of patience. You will have setbacks. I personally don't believe in failures. I believe that the only way you fail is if you just stop trying. Failures are just lessons. You learn something really great sometimes you learn something little, but it's just a lesson. And the last one is be curious. I have found as a leader at NASA, this is the number one value to connect with my team. I don't know everything. I already know that. I'm very teachable. But I'm also very curious. I like learning from everybody, from my brand new, fresh out of college interns, all the way up to my manager who's been there 15 years longer than I have. Curious to learn what they learned. And so where that takes me is my life today. These are just some pictures from my career, random. Yes, those are camels. They are Kazakhstan camels. I'll just say it was an adventure trying to get them out of the road so our bus could drive. I've gotten to walk in Red Square. I have gotten to hike to the top of the world's, largest freestanding Buddha. I've seen rocket launches in multiple countries. And what I learned is, as I was thinking about what to tell you today, you guys are already learning what you need to know to do what you want to do today. It's not something that's coming. It's not something that you have to have figured out. I know I'm going to be this job when I graduate from college. You don't have to know that. I don't know if any of the other parents do this, but I tell my kids that I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. It makes them very uncomfortable. I find it highly entertaining. You don't have to know right now. You don't have to know. All you have to know is what you love to do, and then put your whole heart into it. So what does that mean for you? What about you? You guys impressed me so much today. I absolutely love this community. I will be back next year. I'll hide in the back and watch everything because it was so much fun. But my message is, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what you like. NASA has 1 million jobs. You do not have to be an astronaut. You do not have to have a master's degree. I do not have a master's degree. And I get to manage all of the research on the space station. I personally preferred to tell the astronauts what to do instead of being told what to do. But I know artists and lawyers and doctors and business people. They're all over. NASA has any career you could imagine. There's a baker's hat here. I used to manage the food lab. You can come to NASA and bake. Take your pick. Thank you very much.